Welcome to Primetime Analysis. I am your host, Victor Onyango. Now, one thing that is always very important for every government and for every country is foreign relations. Because the world has become a global village, it is very important that countries develop foreign policy that is very respectful to other countries and is also very welcoming to other countries. Since William Ruto got into power, he has made successive diplomatic bluffs that continues to confuse many countries globally. From the first time when he got into power, there was a tweet that came from his Twitter handle talking about how they have cut ties with Sahrawi Republic in Morocco and that they have now not recognized that as a country. Yet this is a country that UN had already accepted and given go-ahead to allow itself to exist. We have also seen various spats, especially coming from ministers in his government. For instance, Moses Kuria talking about the issue in Sudan. William Ruto foreign diplomacy is totally dead as we speak right now. We know that the president of Iran was supposed to arrive on this country on Tuesday, which is 11th July 2023. But then the government went ahead, issued media invite. The media guys went and set up their tents in State House. The government prepared everything to allow the president of Iran to come in. But then again, it was only to be cancelled later. Later on, the government gave a communication stating that there were certain key memorandum of understanding that were supposed to be signed first before the president comes in. I want to tell you that things are not as you think they are. For many times, in fact, I have released two analyses talking about the diplomatic mistakes that the William Ruto regime is making. First of all, looking at the minister or the cabinet secretary of foreign affairs, you are left wondering whether he is up to the task, whether he is qualified, whether he understands what he's doing, because him as a person also has made certain serious mistakes. Remember the issue about the jobs that are available in Canada, where it took a diplomatic person from Canada to communicate and say that the communication that was given by Mutua was wrong. So for me, I think William Ruto is in a serious problem. Now, in this analysis, I want us to look at the critical reasons why the president of Iran did not come to Kenya on the scheduled date. First of all, you must know that the kind of image that William Ruto has always portrayed is that he has always wanted to be a pro-West person. And that is why he has never looked to China. Looking at the kind of debts he's getting them from the West, Bretton Woods institutions. And then if you look at his presidency and how he ascended to power, he received a lot of support from the West. And therefore, he's been trying to play into their cards. But there is this one thing here. The West and Iran are not allies. United States has sanctioned Iran. There are many European countries that have also sanctioned Iran because of accusations of supporting ISIS. And therefore, if the Iranian president was supposed to come to Kenya, William Ruto is facing a challenge of trying to appear neutral and receptive to President of Iran, but also at the same time playing the right cards with the West. And I am sure the United States is not happy about the visit that the Iranian president is supposed to make. I know it was slated for Wednesday, but then again, this is something that you'll realize that it is going to cause serious diplomatic issues. We also know one thing, that William Ruto was appointed to be the head of the GAD team that is leading peace mission and negotiations over the Sudan issue. We know that yesterday or a day before, William Ruto was attending a meeting. And in this meeting that was called, we realized that Sudan president or the leader, current leader of Sudan, did not turn up because he has accused William Ruto to be partisan. And in that meeting, Al Burhan, the leader of SAF, Sudan military, did not turn up. His delegation did not come. This is an indication that they do not want to participate in that peacekeeping mission. And remember, there is a link between Sudan war and Iran. United States is keenly watching the outcome. Iran is also keenly having an interest in that. And therefore, if you look at William Ruto and his moves that he's making, it is quite clear that he is in a serious quagmire, that he requires experienced diplomats to have a way through which he can ensure that that peacekeeping mission in Sudan is successful. William Ruto has also been involved in this war of de-dollarization of African trade. You know that most African trade is done in dollars, and therefore this has had an effect positively and negatively in the net trade effect within the continent. And William Ruto has been calling for the setting up of a regional currency that can ensure that Africa trades with itself in a single currency. This proposal is good and I support it. But the manner in which William Ruto is playing PR globally and regionally keeps Kenya and makes Kenya a laughing stock. If you check critically, you'll realize that William Ruto has spent much of his time traveling from one country to another. He is in Comoros, he goes to Congo, he goes to Chad. These kind of travels are making him an absentee president. And one thing I want to reveal to you about these kind of travels is that William Ruto in his presidency, he suffers from one thing, the question of legitimacy. And he is struggling through all means to ensure that he gets legitimacy globally and even regionally. And that is why you realize that at every instance that he gets, where there is an African issue and the whites issue, he will always try to project himself as a star for the Africans. This is a PR ploy that he used even in his elections, where he wants to project himself as the source and as the center of solution to his problems. But this thing is going to hit him hard because globally and regionally, there are certain nations that have started being very skeptical with his plans. In our region by itself, there are countries that are not happy with the kind of tone that William Ruto has taken. Because, first of all, when you join, he was just a new president. In fact, after the president of Nigeria, I think he's the youngest, if there is none, in terms of being in power. And therefore, if you look at this, it really presents a serious problem to him. And those who have been there are looking at him and wondering where he wants to go, because he's come with a certain force that was not there before. Some have even likened him to Muammar Gaddafi. But we are waiting to see how these things are going to turn out. Generally, if you ask me, I believe Kenyan diplomatic relations with other countries is questionable. And even if you look at the West, while they have supported him until right now, I believe they have a lot of reservations that they are looking at and critically evaluating to ensure that they establish a good stand with Kenya among community of nations. So one thing William Ruto must do is to restructure his foreign policy men, and those who carry and project that foreign policy globally must be people who are respected. In fact, you remember during the UN Security Council meeting, when Ambassador Kimani gave a hard-hitting speech that was eh, applauded by countries all over regarding Kenya's position on the Ukraine-Russia war. But then looking at now how President William Ruto has come in, he has muddied everything and he has tarnished the good image that Kenya had internationally. So he has to work on that and ensure that at the end of the day, he gets Kenya to be respected among community of nations. That's my take. Let's get communicating down in the comment section. Thank you, and let's meet in our next analysis. May God bless you.